then 5 of the accounts, I brought this up several times, so 5 of the accounts for bank reconciliation, ending balance from May to beginning balance June have changed. I guess, I made copies, so everyone can see, because I think it's hard to know what I'm talking about maybe unless you can see it. So each one I've written, highlighted the beginning versus the ending and what the change is, if it went up or down. So I guess my question overall is, I'm having a hard time voting on this whole section because it continues to change month to month, and that means activity in our bank accounts are changing. And how as a board are we voting on these when change happens after the fact? That makes me question the budget, it makes me question, I mean, this disbursement item, I'm not as concerned with that, but if, and Charlie made some mention to this last time, if things aren't truly final by the time they get this package, it doesn't make any sense for us to vote on it, is my opinion. And maybe that's the accountant telling us, because this training is in process, that we should be tabling these, like we had to for some agendas for, minutes and stuff in the past. I remember there was a time we approved it several months in a row. But until it's done, I also have a question, Tara. I know that even though you can get me this payroll report, I can't tie out the salaries budget for the board. This 980, and I went back and I see it 3 or 4 months of this year, that 980 does not tally to what is paid for George and I. Whether it's 1 meeting, 2 meetings, because I realize we've had some months with 2 meetings, it's 1 pay high. So I'm questioning too what that is. And
I don't know.
I can tell you it's not me. I checked my pay stubs, it's not me.
Your chief paid for the planning commission too.
But that shouldn't be in our board salaries, that should be in the planning commission, and I don't think, do you make the same pay here as you do on the planning commission?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe so. So that's been happening,
But there was an issue with planning issues, what budget item comes out of it.
no, yeah, that's a different issue down here.
And
And there were plenty of months at a time, it was like, oh, George and I, there's our pay. So,
But I think what Tara's getting at is there's extra meetings that I attended because being on the planning commission and special meetings.
but that still shouldn't be at this pay, and it shouldn't be in the board bucket.
Okay, well,
So we need to,
but I'm the ex official on the planning commission, so should it come out of board or should it come out of planning? That is the question.
yeah, I think before it was planning, based on me tying out numbers before, even before I was on this board.
There was issues a long time ago.
Yeah, okay, so that's a side note. That's where I'm at with this whole consent agenda, I guess, is my issue. I don't know, I don't know how we vote on it if things aren't really, if things are moving. Yeah, anyone's
I mean, I guess.
discussion would be welcome.
Well, I guess my question would be like, even the first 20 years. One day and it's the very next day that we start, so I guess I'm wondering how this is happening through the senior system and stuff also. Is what's happening,
From a county standpoint, that means entry was done and it was dated previous to this month. And it could be months back. A balance sheet item is always in existence, it never closes like an income statement item, so you could literally fat finger something 20 years back and that changes your balance, period. That's how balance sheets work. I'm not suggesting that's what happened, but, so it doesn't even mean, it could have been something put into last month, it could have been something put into April.
The only, name of the ones that I personally do are the payroll ones, and I do it with Charlie.
Are some of these done with you and Charlie, or
Yeah,
just
like
Charlie, or
like
you?
for instance, this one, that was, Oh, this is the correct payroll, check on date, 7/15.
No, but the stuff we're approving is.
Yeah, I know, I just noticed, like, this payroll, yeah, it is, but it's
That's,
June's
cause that
payroll.
goes in next month.
No, this is June's payroll. For
No.
6/1, period one, 6/1.
No, I understand that, but if you're tying disbursements to this, we should be matching disbursement date. So you provided disbursements in June,
Other one.
additional.
Okay.
Yep,
Sure,
those should match.
but as an example, this payroll will be manually entered,
Okay.
and it will be entered, like, let's say today's, well, today's the 15th. So this gets entered somewhere close to that, yeah.
So, also, I'm not even saying it's something, some of this is probably things the accountant's doing.
Yeah,
But it's still,
It's
it still
just
begs,
one
should we be, so that's why I'm saying this might be a question for them. If they're as deep as we've hired them to be in our accounting right now, should we be approving these when things are moving afterwards? I'm not saying anyone should have an answer on this, that's my problem. Maybe that's a Ken Holbrook question.
That's what I was just gonna say, maybe that is, well, actually, instead of Ken, it should be a Charlie question
First.
first, because Charlie's the one that's in depth with this way more than what Ken is, by far.
And maybe that question is, how many more months do they need to square up? Well, there's two parts. They're trying to get our last fiscal year ready enough for the auditors start. And if they're doing any of this, that means they're just still doing plenty right now that is in your guys' training, I suppose. And so how much of that,
Well, the auditors were here, but not Charlie and Ken, but other, they were here today. And they went through everything, and they had told me that they might be back tomorrow, but before they left, they said they wouldn't be back tomorrow, because they had everything that they needed from me, and everything that they needed from Tara. And, you know, because I pulled out boxes, and we went into every bank account that we have, and they looked at, like, what our balances were, and all that kind of stuff. And, they looked at, like, handwritten receipts like we do for zoning administrative, you know, that kind of stuff, even though we still put it in the cloud. At the exact time when someone gives us cash, we do handwritten receipts, and then later we put it into the cloud where it needs to go, and that how we actually put a packet together that then, you know, we send to the clerk's office and how we do all that, and we deposit it into the bank, and we get the county receipt from the bank and put the whole packet together. As I showed you, some of our packets that we do, and how our approval goes through, so that several eyes, you know, Tara does it, I okay it, or Susie okays it if I'm busy. And then at the end of, you know, the month when we do reconciliations, Diana looks at it, she has questions, you pull out the paperwork, let her look at it, this is why, this is like this, and then when she's done, she sends it to you, you look at it, and if the board has questions, we pull stuff out, like, you know, you guys look at it, or I says, we have overkill on paperwork. I'm old school, and I like to have extra, so that everything's covered. And they looked at everything and said, nope, we're doing everything correctly. They looked at all the different samples I gave them, they said everything looked good, and they said they won't even need to come back tomorrow.
well, I guess for me, I would say, I would almost table 2, 3, and 4, approve the minutes, and leave the other and ask the accountant.
Yeah, that's,
And then we
yeah,
can
because
all-
I know Charlie is in there recorrecting and doing different things, because we've had questions on stuff. So I know in the background he's doing some of that, I just don't necessarily know how and when he's doing some of that. So, I mean, that seems like a good thing to do.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable
No.
voting on it at this point, because, like I said, from one day to the other, the next, it's still changed. So when we're voting on it, we're just changing to that month that we just voted on, so it's
No, and
Something's
I
hap-
think we
something's
should ask
happening.
Charlie how he wants to address that. Because it changes.
It needs to be addressed pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with that being said, would we like to then go back and approve just the meeting minutes and table the other three for next month, or when we have an answer, or? I think that's the best route myself. Table 1, 2, 3, and 4, and figure it out.
Now, do we need to make a motion to?
Yes, yes.
Sure.
I'll make a motion that we table 2, 3, and 4, pending, the approval of the June 17th minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table, items 2, 3, and 4 on the consent agenda for the July meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carried by zero. Okay, going backwards, a motion to approve the meeting, the meeting minutes from last month, June.
Well, that's part of it.
Hmm?
It was part of the motion.
That's part of my motion.
Yeah, it's part of your motion. Okay, perfect. Okay, are there any additions?
Relevant to that, old business, 11A, Wednesday, hotel bills, discrepancy. And 11B, the website.
Okay.
Make a motion that we add 11A MTA bills, discrepancy, 11B, website, discussion. And we approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second that. The motion is second to add items 11A, 11B, which is 11A, MPA hotel discrepancy, and 11B is the website. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, will you call to the public? Regarding items, agenda items?
I just have a question about the discrepancies. I don't know how any of the accounting works, but I know that I have not received my June mileage check because it hasn't been given to her. So when I turn that into her tomorrow, does it go back into June? Is that why the numbers are changing?
It should work.
It doesn't come out of the June.
No,
it
we
come out
were,
of-
we would
it
be
come out of
considered
July. I didn't know how it was
so
going. I
when,
was just
when
asking.
we write a check is when it goes in the account.
Yeah, thanks.
I guess.
Steve, can you please turn the mic on? As you explain, it's right on the mic part itself. And we found out yesterday that you gotta be like literally 1.5 inches or 2 inches away from that thing, so you can hear it.
Okay, I wasn't at last month's meeting, so I'm not even sure what the proposal for inland solar noise assessment is about. But I do wanna say, to me, the inverter noise the project generates is of great concern to me. I think it's as important as any other factor we have to consider. I found when we were doing research on development ordinance, that the study of sound is very involved, very complicated. You really need an expert, someone who's proficient in this. A layperson like me and you are not gonna understand it all. I talked to the Headland, actually the Atwell guy at Headland's open house a couple months ago about their sound level. And he said, well, it probably won't go as, it'll probably be less than what the state allows. Well, folks, I wanna read you something that was in Atwell, DTE Atwell's lease contract that I was given. It says, this written agreement wholly supersedes any and all oral statements and representations made. In other words, all that they're telling us orally is just waffle. I don't believe you can trust them. If the purpose of this noise assessment is to verify what they're really doing, verify level what their noise is before they come and after, man, I think we need an expert to help us on this. Thank you.
Please, Steve.
Megan Beach, the new item about the website, I was going to ask about the website because there was a meeting, a special meeting that I got notice through with the text, but then it wasn't on the calendar. And so I was kind of frustrated to look at your calendar and see some of the special meetings, but not all of them listed. And, you know, it's important if I can be here to be here, so if the website isn't up to date and it's not staying up to date, it's hard to like track down where that text came through, or that email came through, and I'm trying to stay involved, and I can't do that if the website doesn't get updated and it doesn't stay up to date. Like even when the solar first rolled out and we were reading all about what was being presented to the board, the meeting notes were kind of still in there and accessible, but when I went through the website a ton of times, and I just really can't find the information that used to be available online that should be available online now. So if we can iron out the website being under construction now, so that way the people who work and can't get here, you know, they might want to know and they might want to be involved, but they can't if they can't get the information. And the texting part or the sign up and get the information is great, but if you can't find that particular note, then you can't track it back to the website. And it becomes old school, and it's not gonna work for most people that are under my age and in the world, so, thank you.
Jason Simmons, just one thing that I thought of, actually, I'm going to here today to the meeting. I missed the last couple meetings, so I don't know exactly where the whole solar crap is at right now. I know it's kind of moving forward a little bit and whatnot, but my whole point is we just spent a lot of money on this road over the last couple of years. I hope they don't tear it up and, you know, there's something in there for them to be cleared up, but they fix it. That's it. Because it's all coming down this road.
Okay, is there anyone else for moving forward with reports and communication, county planning commission report, Dennis?
We approved Iasco Township's tax amendments for their large solar energy system. We approved Putnam Township's rezoning. We approved Howell Township's tax amendment for their commercial district. And the most important thing we did last month was we approved and sent up to the Board of Commissioners the Livingston County Capital Improvement Plan.
Thank you. Commission acts official.
We had our meeting last night, and basically, we had Master master plan, the letter, the survey that went out with the taxes, and it's due this week, right, Mike?
Correct, Friday.
And then we discussed and basically, just touched on a residential overlay district, which we didn't do anything with. And we talked about Headland, the solar project briefly, went through strengths, weakness, opportunities and challenges discussion with McKenna, the planner. Discussed the public meeting, reviewed the application, and set dates, potential dates for the next, solar meeting. And that was about it. And we did discuss conflict of interest.
Thank you. Clerk's update?
So, first thing, actually, I know we have a website on here, the website was also in our clerk's update. The notifier, the link between the notifier and the website is currently broken. I just received an email back today that their programmers are looking into it, and it's happening to multiple clients, the issue's not resolved. I can touch on the rest of the website stuff, that website if you want. Okay, so I know that the calendar, I was not in town and trying to update that on sketchy internet in Grayling in the woods. So I did the best I could with what we had. She can't access that right now on Fridays because she can't be here. And that's when we got the alert for the email for that meeting. And then we're trying to get everything organized. We found out that there are expiration dates on some of the postings on there. And so I have to go back through every single article that was ever put on there and change them to always live. Because if you don't change that, either the previous or whoever was doing them, if you don't change it, they go into an archive folder. That only I can see.
If you leave them on, is there gonna be a memory issue with the website?
I would have to ask the developer.
Is that the reason why they automatically archive?
I don't know if I know.
Why would they archive only so she can see more of it and this will be public?
I don't control the website.
Well, they're just in the back end. I don't know. Like, she can see them, I can see them. Like, if you log in, you can see them, but I just don't know why it's doing that. It's something like that. I would like to eventually research other website companies.
What is the timetable on the contract with the current provider for the website?
I have to find a contract for it. Yeah. I do know that there is a folder in my desk records.
You know where I'm going.
Yeah, I do. I think that's everything I have on that. And then, I wanted to discuss the MTA membership from my clerk's update last month. We need to decide which membership level we had wanted to do.
What are we currently?
Do you have the piece of it in there? I forgot to go there.
So currently at the training,
Yes. Yes.
classes and that stuff.
Yes,
Does it give
the
us,
premium pass, yes, all persons included, yes.
does it give us everything we want?
And it's from what it's trying to use.
If we're not using, can we cut back and still satisfy?
Yes.
I think so.
I look up the levels for mine. The bottom option is $750, it gives us 27 classes that are really geared towards the board. The plus gives us, for $1,000, 47 classes, which adds to that board 27, the planning, zoning, and cemeteries, and more, it says. And the premium is $1,900, it's 100 webinars, plus 11 Township Governance Academy. So,
From the mid-level one?
I mean, I would, I don't know, I'm between you and here because many of the planning commission just did citizen planners, so they're set for their CPP for 3 years. So unless, and you guys just went to MBA and you're going to your thing, so I
And this is an annual thing, so I
Right.
just feel like with everything going on in the township, we should probably save some money and bring this down this year, and then reevaluate next year that we might want to do that capacity.
And what is, okay, what's the renewal date?
The renewal date is August first.
Okay.
Well, it's when it's due.
Okay.
So I know I've done like 2 or 3 of those classes since I've been in class and stuff. So I don't know who else on the board has taken me through that on the website or whatever.
I do.
That would help steer a little bit, and then I wanted to ask Randy, she uses the assessing part of that, is that like?
I've taken everything that's available in the assessing and they have not updated or changed or offered new material in the last 2 years.
What about Ross? You doing any add on Michigan GA?
Not currently, I'm not, I just took the class, the same one.
You took that one too, okay.
Yeah, I took that class.
Yeah,
Just
They-
checking something.
They come back, it's funny because they come a year later and they, offer you like a refresher course. And the reason I know that is because they sent Becky a notice that it's been a year and wondered if she wanted a refresher. So I'm assuming that a year from now I'll get one as well.
It's almost like the lowest one.
Yeah.
Does anybody know how many classes are on there for the cemetery?
Pardon me?
Does anyone know how many?
It doesn't specify.
I was gonna say, cause we could totally play that in our, like on our rainy day meetings for the board members.
Yeah. Is it what, $250 to do that?
I thought the cemetery one was in the lower one.
It's in the middle.
No, it's in the middle one.
Oh, then don't worry about it.
It's in that, not in that first tier, so I would make a motion that we, in addition to the dues you're approving here, go with the essential package at $750.
So the total works out to what? 750 plus what?
That we're reviewing in this, that wasn't up for each for the day.
The dues to be numbered.
Yeah.
287.
Wait, Sarah, what about for your motion, are we doing the legal defense fund contribution too, that says it's optional? At $95.74.
What does that give us?
That, my understanding was there's this access like to the,
It's access to their
Their
legal
counsel.
counsel. I had to make that
100%
also,
yeah.
because I called them, because it's, other than this fee, it's free. So
Well,
I
that
call
before you
them
call our
before I
attorney.
call our
Right.
attorney quite often. And
They will give you advice, but then they will tell you to get hold of your own legal counsel.
Correct.
Right.
But on some of the stuff, when it's not that.
But it's,
present,
that's for the year though, that's 95.74.
I would say yes, I was, going with the total due price plus that $750.
Plus the man.
It's already there.
It's in 32,
Correct.
okay, plus it's in 32. $4,037.23. Total.
I'll second.
Put the total in. Not to exceed.
That would say $4,035.30.
For how long?
1 year.
Just we can see that.
That's true. Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve, $4,037.23 before the MTA, association fees. You want to do a roll call?
Yep.
Eva? Yes.
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 Yes. Motion passed 5-0. Anything else?
Yes, one more thing. The last thing I have is the Fowlerville, business membership, the membership for the Fowlerville.
Business association.
FTA.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion, actually, I would like to make a motion that we do not renew our membership with the Fowlerville Business Association.
Second with discussion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, more discussion.
Why?
We don't get anything out of it other than our name and the, it's $250 a year.
Okay, it's all right.
Yeah, that was mine. I was like, I think everybody knows where they are, because then that was the other thing, is your information is on the website, and I'm like, most people got hired, but try it out.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the Fowlerville Business Association to not renew. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Fire board report, Glenn?
We haven't had a recent fire board meeting.
It's quick. Okay, so we have we have a presentation today, from Kevin Decker, who is our insurance, company that we use for the township.
More reading material. More reading material.
I will, be as brief as I can. Usually, the more questions you have, the longer,
A little closer to the mic.
Sure.
You gotta get pretty close, so there you go.
Alright.
You can pull it out and hold it, if you want to, it'll pull right out and hold it.
Let's see how this goes. Okay.
You can pull it back too.
Right. Do whatever you need to do.
Hold it in
Over.
your hand and just act like you're at Mike night.
Oh, there we go.
There you go, see?
So, what I just handed out are just our proposals for the renewal. Usually I'll go through this and then I do have actually one more thing to hand out to you. Got here, so.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the important stuff. So the numbers there, usually, we jump right into that. That's a premium history put together for you. Shows last year's renewal. If there's any endorsements or anything like that, any adjustments there, we can. So if you didn't have any increases, any changes throughout the year, it would just be a last year's premium. Of course, that's not the case right now. If anybody's had their own insurance renewals, everything is higher right now. Part of the increases are, your property values have increased, the things you own cost more to replace, so that is part of that. I will say the percentage rise is just over 12%. What we've seen in the municipal market is anywhere from 15 to 12 is our average that we're seeing. So you're at the low end of that. If you've had significant losses, which there has been some losses here, not anything significant, renewals are much higher. seen some that have doubled this year. I mean, it's just it's a tough market for the insurance right now. So those numbers there, are there any questions on that? So I will go through the booklet that I handed out. And then sometimes going through that, you'll have some more questions, and then we'll answer some of those as we go through this. So, first page, just the title page. The second page says featured products. This is just, again, we're a municipal agency, that's all we do is municipalities. I don't do homeowners or great business insurance or things like that. It is just municipal. So in doing so, there's a number of other benefits that we have geared specifically to municipalities. So this page kind of identifies other things we could offer if you were interested in those. On the next page, and feel free to stop if you have a question.
Don't worry.
So the program that the township is in is the Michigan Power Plant program. It is designed for townships. It was created by townships, for townships in 1985 is when it was started. The official name is the Michigan Township Participating Plan, but for short, they just shortened it to PAR. It doesn't have anything to do with golf, but it's just participating is shortened there. So that's the nickname of the program, is the Michigan Power Plant. With the program, you have insurance, but then you have a number of other benefits that you get being in this program. So, risk reduction, the last part of this page, identifies a number of those benefits that you get. There's online resources, we have a website, there are webinars, things like that that are available to you. We have risk control services. We have a grant program. So twice a year you can apply for a grant. You can get up to $5,000 in each grant cycle. And the grants can go towards anything that's risk reduction. So property or liability. Things, so examples could be security systems, camera systems, lighting, you want better lighting in the parking lot. Generators, it's another one that we apply for, but there's only this, these categories, it's pretty much anything you can come up with. So if you say, hey, we want to get a fireproof safe, to protect our documents, that potentially could apply for a grant. The next grant cycle that comes up is August, so it starts August 1st, it goes to September 15th, and then so that's our spring and fall, basically. So the spring one, which obviously already happened, that is February to March 15th. So those are your 2 windows throughout the year to submit for a grant. Essentially what happens, and with that process, if you have an idea, if you have something, you say, hey, we want to work on this, call me, let me know, we can help you. We can't write the grant for you, but I mean, we can definitely, if you start it and let us review it, we'll review it and say, hey, if we tweak this, there's certain things we know the committee's looking for, we can help you with the wording in those grants. But like I said, you can, get one a year. I mean, you get, like I said, up to $10,000 in a year in that grant. But like I said, it's just something it's money that's out there for you. So
So
Does
like,
that happen the same time every year, in the spring and the fall?
yes, yeah, those time frames don't change. So every year it's those time frames.
so like fireproof filing cabinets?
Potentially, yes, yeah.
Okay.
So, I've seen some grants for digitizing old paper files. Because again, the idea, we digitize them, we're going to, if we have a fire, things like that, if we have a backup, we're not losing that information. So, but the grant is definitely something to keep in mind, if money you get back from the insurance carrier. And then we do have we call it a scholarship program or a training and scholarship program. That is, again, if you go on the website, there's a list of what's available there. but the training will pay, or will reimburse 50% of the cost of the trainings. And those would be, one example, say there's you said MMTA,
Yes.
there's a certification for Michigan Town treasurers. There's a clerks association, they have a certification. So those certifications, if you were to go through those programs and become certified, will pay half of the cost for those. There is benefits for planning commission, DA, things like that. Those trainings that MTA offers will pay 50% of the cost of those. I will say with that program, they budget so much for the year, and then once they hit their budget for the year, then it's done. The next year would be, you know, you apply. So those, if you know you have somebody you're gonna push through those trainings, do it early, you know, earlier in the year to get that money allocated for. You don't have to take the training early in the year, you just submit and get approved, and then you'll have that set aside for whenever the training happens. So, and the last thing on this list here, we have a new water sensor program that is available to you. Again, if you go on the website, a lot of this information is on the Parkland website. But it's water sensors, you can put them in your building here. So essentially, if you have a water leak, or say you lose power, furnace goes out, it detects water leaks as well as temperature drops. It's just an idea, it's early detection, so we can catch something to fix it before it becomes a bigger problem. So those are things that again are offered through Parkland, the number of benefits that you get.
So when you say water, that pipes or the infiltration from outside also type leaks, or?
It'd be any type of leak, and the water sensors are just notification. That doesn't mean, like, depending on how the leak happens, may or may not be covered, but these are going to detect a leak, so that we can respond sooner, and, you know, it may mean something turn into insurance, because you know about it. The idea is, most of the time when you have a leak, it happens Friday afternoon after everybody leaves, and you don't find it till Monday morning. So this is the idea behind it, is we'll find it sooner, we can address it, before it becomes a bigger problem.
Around the water meters, around the service come together.
So, any questions on, no? So on the next page, we have indexed contact information, not 2 pages there, but on page 4, this gets into the actual coverage. I won't go through every item on this, I'll hit the highlights for you. So, general liability, when we talk about that, we start with, your per occurrence limits. You have a $3 million per occurrence, and then there's policy maximum. Your policy maximum is unlimited. There's no cap on how many claims you can have throughout the year, but each claim is capped at $3 million. No deductibles in those sections. And general liability, we're talking essentially bodily injury, personal injury, property damage. Those are the types of claims that are going to fall into this section. A good example here would be slip and falls. Someone slips on your property, this section of policy is going to respond. Additionally named, so we include 5 categories in the policy automatically. We can add others if we need to, but these are automatic in the policy. So you've got, the first is any member of the governing body. So everybody sitting up here, if you're named individually in a lawsuit, we're identifying you, we're going to protect you in the policy. Then we have any other members or boards or planning commission or other committees. You could set up just a random committee for something. Those members will be included as long as you're doing something on behalf of the township. Then we include elected or appointed officials. So that's where the deputies are picking up because they're an appointed position. Employees would be typically somebody who's getting a W-2, but it's someone on payroll. So your election workers, they may not receive a W-2, but they're still considered an employee. They're doing work for the township. And then the last category there is volunteers. So with volunteers, that's someone we're not paying, but they've been approved to do something for the township And if in doing so, they damage someone's property, or hurt somebody, we're protecting that liability, that exposure that they're getting caused. So,
How often would that have to be updated?
that list,
Yeah, oh no, on the policy, but as far as it says any, but do we have, if we have new people come and go, do we have to change that, notify you of that change?
no, you basically, any of these categories are broad, so as long as you have proof that they are fall into one of these categories, they're covered automatically. What I always say is, if you document it at a board meeting, put it in your meeting minutes, that's your documentation, that's your proof.
Okay.
In the additionally included, if there's something in there, I should be able to explain it to you, but, is there any questions on that list? I will point out, number 11, elected or appointed officials' residence or place of employment. This policy includes coverage at your homes, so if someone came to your house to discuss township business, and they slip and fall at your house, if you go to drop off taxes or something like that, this policy is gonna protect you there, not your homeowners. So this extends to a lot of our townships, our rural townships, people go to, the health officials' homes. This is gonna protect you at your house, to this extent. I always say that the policy follows your home, it's kind of how we identify that. 12, special events liability. If you have any special events, just an open house, things like that, whatever, those are all included automatically. The only thing that's not automatic in those situations is if you have anything involving fireworks or alcohol. You can do that, but you need to let us know, and then we usually charge you more.
The rider.
For that, yes.
That's how we do things in Conway, is
Both of, yeah. I always say if you're drinking and blowing stuff up, give us a call.
Thing called Good Brian.
As long as it's in that order.
Anything else in that list that jumps out at you? On the next page, section 2 is our public official liability. We refer to this as wrongful acts. So again, limits are the same, $3 million per occurrence, unlimited throughout the policy year. No deductibles in that section. This provides coverage for the decisions, the actions you make as a board. Usually we get lawsuits for, say, discrimination, civil rights violations, say you violated the Open Meetings Act, or all those types of things. You may get sued for, that all falls under this section. So, in addition to those things, all your employment practices are included at the full $3 million. So if we have anything related to, hiring and firing, lawsuits, harassment claims, discrimination again, things like that, employment related, that's all included at the full $3 million there. The B is private property use. This would be our zoning related claims. Anything related to zoning, the limit there is 100 per occurrence, 100,000 per occurrence, and it's again unlimited. So each separate claim would have the full 100,000, but each individual claim is capped at 100,000 for those. Non-monetary, if we have a claim, typically when somebody sues, they want damages, they want money along with whatever they're suing for. But if you had somebody who's just suing because they don't like the decision and they're trying to overrule the decision, we call those non-monetary because there's no damages involved. That 100,000 is just one. That's the max for the year. Typically, that's going to be just the cost to pay the attorney. That's what that represents. So there's this limit there. And again, additionally named, you have the same 5 categories under that section. Section 3, auto liability. So the township doesn't own any vehicles that I'm aware of, but when you're using your personal vehicle on township business, there's an exposure there to the township. So this $3 million sits over and above your own personal auto policy when you're using a vehicle on township business. So if you're going to the bank, to make a deposit, you're going to, like, say, an MTA conference somewhere. If you were to run a stop sign, seriously injure somebody, your personal auto policy is primary, but this policy is excess over the top. So, and that's for public officials, employees of the township when they're using their personal vehicles on township business. And the additionally included there, in addition to that liability coverage that you get, we do provide what I call is a deductible reimbursement. So we'll pay up to $1,000. Again, if you use your vehicle on township business, you still turn it into your insurance, but we can reimburse your deductible up to $1,000. So, any questions on those two items?
I wanna back up.
Sure.
If the township is sued, are the board members covered exceeding the 100,000 or to the 3 million?
It depends on what you're sued for. So if it's property use related, that's the 100,000,
Right.
and that would be the cap. And then if it was different, if we're talking about the $3 million limit, that is the cap. The policy's not going to, in any one situation, not gonna pay more than that limit. But once it hits that limit, then if you get sued for, say, 10 million, and you lose a lawsuit, this will pay out 3, and then the rest would be the responsibility of the township, or the individual.
If the township is sued collectively and individually, each individual member is a separate suit, and then collectively as a whole body,
Yeah, I mean, these
are we
limits.
covered under both instances?
Yeah, so typically if you have a lawsuit and you're suing the township, I mean, you might sue the township and name a bunch of people, we're still talking about 3 million. The other scenario would be, I mean, you may have just one person that gets named in a lawsuit, we're still providing that 3 million for that situation. So it's not necessarily per person or who's named, it's per suit.
Well, I just wanted to make that distinction.
Yeah. Any other questions on that? On the next page, this gets into, property. So we have, so liability was the first 3 sections. Now, section 4 here is your property coverage. So you have, building and contents. So if we add everything up, building and contents is going to be your, obviously the building itself, and then contents is going to be tables, chairs, file cabinets, not computers, that's separate. But so those items, if we add everything up, the total limit there is 1.3, almost 1.4 million. Then we have listed deductible in that section is at 1,000.
And you're saying that's at today's cost?
That should represent what it would cost to replace everything, yes, at today's cost. Yeah. So if you feel that it's low, if you feel it's too high, I mean, we can adjust it. It's not something that we dictate that number, that is, we welcome feedback as far as if you say we want to adjust it, we can definitely adjust it if we need to. Now, the building contents, I mean, we're talking about, like fire, storm damage, theft, vandalism, things like that. Section 5, outdoor and portable, we do have a limit of 25,000 there. The insurance world calls that in the marine. I call it outdoor and portable because that makes more sense to me, but, so this would be outdoor, like fencing, signs, flagpoles, things that aren't a building, they're not a vehicle, so it's just the other stuff that you might have that we need to replace falls under this section.
Would that be like the generator that you have outside?
So the generator, if it's stationary and it's like on a cement slab, it's not going anywhere, we would include that with the building value. If you have a generator that's on a trailer or a portable
No,
one,
it's,
it would-
To fix that.
it's permanent, it's fixed.
yeah, so it'd be part of included in that 1.3 million for that.
What about cemeteries, 85 cemeteries, if there's, for a reason why they want to be in a cemetery?
So with cemeteries, again, it's stuff that, it's your stuff that you have in the cemetery, so if there's a sign, fencing around the cemetery,
Not headstone.
not headstones, headstones aren't yours. You're watching over them, but they're not the property of the township. So so it's going to protect, we have limited coverage in the policy to repair some headstones, say a tree falls down, things like that. There's a $10,000 limit to provide coverage for that. But if we have a huge storm that causes more damage than that, the headstones are, they're the property of the bank, that put them there. So that's who, typically, they may have coverage under their homeowners or whatever to repair those things. So, but it's gonna be your stuff. It's like fencing is a lot of storm damage, damage fencing, signs, we have other things out in the cemetery. Electronic data processing, we have a flat limit of 100,000. So that is unscheduled, we don't have to keep track of that. If you own it, it's covered, whether it's here or say it's a laptop that someone takes home. So if someone has in this house, it's still covered under this policy. Last item on this page is valuable papers and records. So here would be, we'll pick on the cemetery again. If, say all the cemetery records are destroyed, we have to hire somebody to come out and recreate that information, rebuild that. This section of the policy would pay for the cost, the labor, to hire somebody to do that. So if we've lost our records, whether it's physical or electronic, this section would cover the labor cost to replace those. Any questions on those sections?
Would that apply to accounting records?
Yeah, yep. So page 7, we have crime and bonds. With crime, we're talking about someone outside, unrelated to township, breaks in and steals funds. You have a limit of 100,000 there, so if you have any cash on hand here, or during tax season, in the building here, or let's say in transit to the bank, we'll cover up to 100,000. And really, we're just talking about cash. Checks and things like that, you can stop paying on those, but this would replace cash that's gone. Then the bonds, we have a $100,000 limit, blanket limit on the bonds, and that is any employee, anybody that might have access to funds in the township has 100,000 coverage if they were to embezzle funds. In addition to that, there's position limits, and those position limits, we have those because the state requires those positions to be bonded individually. So we've got the individual limits, but the blanket sits over the top of those. So treasurer is 125, clerk's 110, supervisor is 105, is how that plays out. But anyone not listed in the position still has just 100,000.
So now, what about like trustees? Is that covered down too?
Yes, yep, trustees would be covered if they ever access funds. I mean, not that you're doing that a lot, but say you had a fundraiser.
Yeah, but I just was curious.
Yeah, yep, they would be included in that as well. So, and then the last item on this page is your workers' compensation. That is provided through accident fund. That is billed separately, so it's not part of this packet billing, but it is, they do an audit every year, it's based on payroll, so, that will adjust every year based on what your actual payroll is. And then, next page we have our accident policy. So, I'm almost done, sorry. It's super exciting stuff, missing, so. The accident policy, so this is on the board itself. This is something in addition, over and above workers' compensation. You do have coverage, so this provides on duty as well as off duty. It's a 24-hour, 24/7 policy. If something happens and it is township related, the on-duty limits apply. If it is not township related, the off-duty limits would apply. The accident policy, it's an accident-only policy, so it's not like life insurance. It'd have to be like a car accident, or you fall off the roof, or something, along those lines. Wouldn't be like a heart attack that's considered illness. This would have to be an accident situation, injury situation. But there's a death benefit, there's impairment, and there's some additional benefits there that they've just thrown in for like home and things. The supplemental benefits will pay in addition to, or in conjunction with something above. So say there's a death, there's a benefit for burial. Say there's a disability, there's a benefit for vehicle modification, stuff like that. So you have that, and then the next page is your cyber policy. Cyber policies, I wish we didn't need them, but we do. So with any cyber policy, you have three parts really. There's first party, third party, and then the cyber crime related section. So first party is our stuff. So if we have anything, say somebody hacks into our systems, we have to replace, restore from backups, all the costs tied to that goes into the first party section. Third party is going to be other people's information that we're responsible for. So let's say like credit card information or social security numbers or things like that. The third party liability provides coverage for us to either pay for identity theft, or if we get fined because we didn't do something we're supposed to do, pay those amounts. And then the crime section covers like if we have a ransomware, like phishing, email attacks, things like that, all those things related to the cyber deception, those provide those limits on that. So really, if you look at any cyber policy, those are kind of the three main sections you will see. So, and then the last item, or the last page is our property schedule. You can see the building limit, the content limit separately. No vehicles, and then the inland marine item is at 25,000. That's just 25,000. And again, that is not scheduled either. That's just throughout the township. So like I said, it's not that we're only insuring fence at one cemetery, not the other. It's 25,000 throughout the township. So you may have more than 25,000 if you add everything up. But it's, I always say within the marine, because it's throughout the township, you're not going to lose it all at once. So say you have 50,000, you pick a number that makes sense to you. So if one cemetery has, say 30,000, we might want to bump that up. But that's how it works right now, the limit's at 25.
That contact's number 28,
Yes,
that doesn't include the computers?
correct.
Because that's in a different spot. So
Correct.
it would be furniture and.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, you guys. I think there was a question about deductibles. Which I should have brought this up earlier, but the liability section, we did look at deductibles, higher deductibles on the liability sections. Currently, there's no deductibles, zero deductible for if you have a wrongful acts claim or auto liability claim. They're currently at zero. We did get two options. I don't think they're great. To go to a $5,000 deductible would save you $865 annually. To go to a $10,000 deductible, that would save you $1,286. So it's not a huge savings, and it's in this program we usually see that. It's not a huge savings, even on the property side. If we look at higher deductibles, it's just the way the program is designed. Deductible changes don't really give us great big credits. So, but I'll give you that too. I got written down. There's in case you forget what it was said. So I have that information. I think there was a handout in there for some employee benefits. That's a new program we have. So again, like when I said, we offer specific things for municipalities. This is a program we designed for municipalities. It offers some benefits. You can do it. The nice part about that is if, say, one person is interested, one person can do it. It's not a group where you have to have the entire township participate. If one person wants to do it and pay for themselves, we can do that. But that's a newer program, so I threw that in there. So if you want to talk about that more, I can definitely come back to the meeting, meet you in a day, or discuss that at some point. So, yes.
Page 8, that off-duty, on-duty thing,
Yes.
is that an off-duty, like if someone's at a conference, they're just not here?
Off-duty just means not township.
So I'm at home, I fall down and break my leg?
Yeah, I mean, if you're, so that it's accidental death, dismemberment, disability. So if you break your leg,
Okay, that is just comfortable.
yeah, I mean, we had,
Shouldn't be a problem, George.
yeah, so you have to be.
I'll remember that.
Disabled, but we had a board member who was killed in a car accident, was not township related, he was actually out of state, I think visiting family, and, so they received his wife, received, it was 200, and he didn't have his seatbelt on, so he didn't get the additional amount, in that claim, but they received the 200,000 plus the burial amount. So,
No, thank you.
any other?
Just to be clear, it doesn't have to be tied into township business, is what you're saying.
So, yeah, the off-duty doesn't have to be township related at all. If it is township related, so let's say you're heading to a MTA conference,
It's more.
then it would be higher.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So if you're gonna do yourself in, make sure you're on your way to something.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Black light companies. I like companies. Why? Somebody tell me. So, that's what I was asking. Oh.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Was the stuff for training and that, is that something new or that's something you guys have always offered?
It's newer, so, I wanna say
Cause
it's
I
only,
just don't recall that ever being brought up.
I wanna say it's only been the last two and a half years, something like
okay.
that. Which, I only have one of these.
Well,
You guys pass this around in a copy.
oh, okay.
And that actually is a list of, those are the pre-approved things.
Okay.
So if there's other stuff that you apply for, you can apply for.
Cause I just never, I mean, as long as we're pledged, I just never heard of any of this. And
Right.
that's-
Yeah, that, like I said, it is newer. Essentially what happened is a lot for the grant, a lot of people were applying for training through the grant. So we said, let's make a whole separate training program.
Okay.
So,
No, that.
As long as the grant,
that's a good question. Well, it's a township. Yeah, so I mean, you'd have to convince the
Well, I heard
board.
you say clerk and treasurer, but nothing about assessing.
I mean, if there's something related to that could be.
We'll make copies for you.
We'll make a copy
So,
of all
yeah,
that.
so you get to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have it, so you can get copies.
Okay, moving on to old business, first one in old business is the bank signatures.
I didn't bring that paper with me, but finally, oh, you got it, okay. We finally got situated with Chase. Chase was always our hold up. Because
Final.
Everything's final.
well, I mean, the signatures are, but we still have to go over stuff because the account is so old. Oh, no, but the signatures are
The
fine.
signatures are good.
Yeah, because we have to deal with somebody in Florida.
And since this has been going on for a while, I'm just gonna explain really fast. The signatures are the people that are allowed to sign
That's fine.
checks in the township. And there's four, that's the clerk, the deputy clerk, the treasurer, and the deputy treasurer. That's what this all was about, the back signature. It just has to get redone all the time, so we will need Chase to do their stuff and do their program.
And the banks are all good here, but Chase, unfortunately, you have to deal with somebody who's in Florida. It never goes through, because you have to go back and forth, back and forth. It's the only way that you ever get it. You have to go call the bank in town, and then they get a hold of the hierarchy.
Okay, so waste management, the only way to avoid the fee is to have it auto-drafted from our bank account. And the first payment, Leah has wrote down here, it'll be processed for July 17th, because she was talking to them. So we're gonna see if it goes exactly the way they told us over the phone. But they're not supposed to charge us $9.99 anymore.
So you set up.
Yes. Yep. Also, maybe we should talk to other, trash companies, if there are any more that will service us, because they will not let us, like I know my trash, I pay for the quarter or the year all at once. They will not let us pay them for the year. Like, that was our face.
Never heard anybody.
They didn't want to take our money, yeah.
That's monthly, we're paying that monthly.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah,
pay,
you can say
can't pay, right?
The guy on the phone said you could pay yearly, but it's not cost effective because they like, I guess it's a $100 million.
I was like,
Said we might overpay or something, I don't know.
It just has to do with their system, they're not set up.
yeah, they're not set up for
Which makes no sense.
yearly billing, it's like, it isn't, I didn't understand it, it didn't make any sense to me.
Okay, moving on to 11, county hotel loans. So what I'm assuming this, or I know this is about the MTA, what
We
was,
talked about last month,
right.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna, ask Debbie to speak about the hotel, it was her hotel bill. And, I let her know that we approved the 3 nights. And, that we did not stay the 4th night.
And I didn't count nights, I just did what I always stay, because I always go to, because the next night, next day is MTA meeting. And when we also voted, when we vote, we had to vote for, because Diana was no longer, representative, because she didn't get voted in for clerk. And that was, we had to vote for someone to be in her district, because we're District 25, which came from the offices. Livingston, Washington, Monroe, and Wayne. And, Donald, Wellington Jr. was voted in for that, in her position. But that's what I always say, and I just didn't even count days and nights, but that's how long since I've been on since 2013, and I always stayed. In my head, that wasn't extra, because I always go to the because that's the next day.
So I personally do believe that the motion that was made was for 3 months. That's all I,
Lots, that's fine, I'll pay for
that
it.
was the motion that was made.
And have you discussed that 4th night, and it's my understanding that that night is a party, it's a gala, it's a ball that's attended, and you stated in the meeting, Debbie, that next day is for the politicians,
Well, yeah,
county
so they
people.
vote for all that stuff, and that is the MTA meeting, which I always attend. And like I said, I don't count days because we never did that before. So, because we never brought it before the board before, that was the first time I ever saw it.
The board didn't approve this in the past?
No.
Thousands of,
They approved
Bill, did we ever have to have it approved to hold
No.
a conference?
No,
It was part of our training budget.
Okay, so my,
stuff's in the budget doesn't mean that it's not voted on by the board.
so wait, I actually have a question about that. So was it just, if that was in the budget, then you were just to not exceed whatever your training budget was?
So,
Okay.
it just, I never counted. days, days and nights. And when you think about it, it was 3 nights, but to me, that's not a big deal at all.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little
I don't think the
confused.
taxpayer
though.
should pay for an extra night on the
I remember last year, the board voted on MPA conference and people going. I mean, it's been every,
Well, I'm talking from 2015 up until, you guys.
let's say this is before this current board, the previous board, voting on all things that for church, MPA,
Whatever, to me, it's
your
not that big of a deal.
MPA, the
What is it,
clerks,
$200
it was
or
odd as I thought
$95?
voting was voting, but voting, I mean, I remember sitting about these seats and being voted on.
I gotta do is check the minutes.
Okay, so that's another thing too, the amount is 236.84, now that was left off the minutes last month, I didn't correct that, but it is now in the minutes as well, which it should be, we discussed it for minutes.
So it's 236.
And I just, if this requires more conversation next year, we should dig into it deeper, but you guys discussed it at length.
It just need to be laid out in the motion of how many days it's gonna be and who's gonna be.
And the business purpose of the days to be in.
It all goes back in the motion.
Correct.
So the motion was for 3 nights. I know that. I can verify that.
Well, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just write you guys a check for it.
Okay.
Okay, moving forward, 11 megawatts.
So Troy, I know you hit on this, the reason I asked for it to be added, it's like, because the obvious reasons is I have had like 3 people this last month reach out to me and say, my sister being one, but I never should speak up, right? But several other people got a hold of me, one about special meeting and one about, emails to the township. So one thing that I've noticed, and I know you said things expire, so I'm not sure on this. It used to be, up until recently, that if you went to, hold it up, on the top it says, I want to, in that big long list of like, ordinances, FOIA, everything, was contact the township. And when you open that, it's a whole screen, and Liz had made the very first box says, email the whole board, and then it's alpha order, you have a picture on there, good job. And, each person with their title, and you can click on it. And that is no longer in that screen, the whole thing is gone. But I found a way to get to it, but no one else has been finding this. So if you Google Conway Township, and that comes up at the top, before you click on our website, it lists other things, and it says staff directory right there. So it's in the website still.
So we've been.
You just can't point to it anymore.
We've been trying to, there's a whole bunch of so that's what we've been
Do
working
you
on.
need like a programming degree to do anything in this website?
Kind
Because
of,
it's
yeah.
awful.
It's really bad.
So the meeting, I also got contacted to say, why are there cars at the parking lot? There's nothing on the calendar. And that was, we had 2 special meetings this month.
So,
and the PC meetings
That
are-
email got sent to me. I was in Breland, in the middle of the woods with no service fly fishing. Everyone in the office knew I would not be here. And I happened to check my email when we were in town, and so I'm sitting there in a McDonald's parking lot trying to upload this to the website. So,
Well, just so you know, the planning commission doesn't have any meetings. They need to be filled in for the rest of the year.
yeah, we just talked about that today.
Okay.
So that, we were working on that today too, and that's how we ended up with the notifier, figuring out that there was an issue with the notifiers. I was trying to send out the, hey, these meetings are coming, and
So somehow we gotta get that thing pointed to go. It's called staff directory.
okay, so I'm gonna add that to this email for Jacqueline.
Okay.
So does the web service update the website, or are we responsible?
We're responsible for updating it, but there are some, well, like the notifier error, and there's some other things that it just gives us like bad gateway. we'll go to click on it, it'll sit there and it'll spin and it'll spin and it says back gateway.
The blue circle of death?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, moving forward.
Wait, Randy's gonna have it.
Sorry,
Also,
Randy.
under board members, when you click under government, it used to say board meeting minutes / packets, it only says the meeting minutes, so I feel like if people don't have Facebook and they go, they only see minutes, they don't understand that the packets are included in there, and it might be confusing. It used to say minutes and packets, and now it only says one, so that needs to be added back for our residents.
And that's under board members, right?
Yes.
And planning commission members need up, I'm still on the planning commission, I'm not listening to you. That's under planning commission, and then we go down, it lists everybody in their terms, that's it.
Okay.
There's so many layers, is the problem.
Yeah,
Not easy to navigate.
It's not basically HTML, it's like you gotta create subpages.
Yeah, you could create subpages and subcategories and then.
Yeah.
Would it be better to have someone recreate it and then start?
So I did talk to a couple other companies months ago, but then we started, like, we were switching boards and all this stuff was going on. There are other companies that would give us more support, but I need to look at what we're paying for this one versus what the other ones are
Are we
and put a
getting
whole
what-
thing together.
Are we getting what we're supposed to be getting for what we're paying for now?
From what I can see, yes.
I gotta be paying next to nothing, because it's we're getting nothing.
Yeah, that's.
And when is our
You're telling me
contract
it's a huge
up?
number.
Or do we have a contract?
I know that there is a full file that I found the other day that's about this website, and I mean, I just recently found it.
When that motion was made, that was very expensive, if I remember correctly, on the dollar amount, on that, setting up that website, and this contractual agreement, okay? And if I remember correctly, I voted against it because of cost, okay? All right, I'm just saying, so I'd like to revisit that, if you could pull that.
Yeah, I don't remember what we were paying for it, but if it's coming up due soon, maybe it's time to shop.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Or at least the best bang for the buck.
Obviously, this isn't the best time.
It's not, doesn't seem to be working out that way.
Most things you can get to are in more than one location. It's like you have to go to different spots, click more, and then you find, oh, it is, so you find it one much, and you never try it again.
I put
It
it in the
does,
same
yeah.
file.
It's bad.
Anybody
I
else?
put the same thing.
Can you move
Okay,
this?
well, wait. The lady in the back that was heckling me earlier. She brought up the texting thing, so is that tied into alternate, okay, all right. I wanna make sure that she's taken care of because of the retribution later on, okay?
There's three or four different ways for you to receive, information, correct? From, you get the notices, you can.
Yeah, so
You can sign up for the notices, and then you have to check like which things you wanna be alerted to. Honestly, when I send out a public posting, I pretty much just check all the boxes when I send it out, so I'm sorry if you didn't want the board meeting topics or whatever, I will send out the whole thing to everybody, because
Can't say they didn't get it.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the website, to the Facebook page, that I still can't access the Facebook page myself, but I can send notices out on it.
And then it does the texting too, because
Mhm.
we just found that,
Yep.
at the bottom of our website.
Yep, it sends text messages, it sends to the Facebook, and then it sends in the email alert. I think it's 3 things.
So what's broken is when you send it to the
All of it.
app,
No, all of it.
notification,
Have you
The
actually-
notifier period is broken.
okay.
Have you actually spoken to the web provider?
Yeah, that's who I've been emailing with her.
Okay, but I mean, were they able to?
Yeah, she said, it's happening amongst multiple clients and their programmers are looking into it, and she's gonna let me know when the issue is resolved.
Okay, I get it. I'm talking about everything else.
Oh, yeah, no, we're working, I have a running list, so I'm trying to gather everything, and then I'm gonna have a phone call. Because email is great, but also,
You're gonna let us know next month?
yes.
All right, okay.
Alright, we good? Okay, moving forward, we're going to go to the, Monroe Show Cause film. Us, we'd like to,
I don't know if I can stand up. Mr. Monroe, are you here? Is anybody from Eva Lane here? Okay, great. Lots for you to hear. Most of the time I can settle things, the easy way by appealing to people's common sense. Sometimes I get somebody who just does not want to cooperate. I have 3 current ordinance violations for Rhonda and Trevor Monroe of 9148 Eva Lane. The first violation is for building without permits. And, they, came in when Gary Klein was his first zoning administration before Becky. The Monroes came in and they applied for a land use to build a deck and a swimming pool. And Gary, like a good zoning administrator, went out there to take a look to see where they were going to build. And they were building over the property line and too close to the property line. And so Gary denied the application for the land use. And Mr. Monroe and Rhonda Monroe built their pool and their deck anyway without permits. They were notified by Gary Klein, Becky Dockery, the second zoning administrator, and myself, to move the illegal deck and pool. It's an unlawful building, and, an unlawful building, if any building or part thereof is used, erected, altered, abandoned, or occupied contrary to the law or provisions of this ordinance, such building shall be declared a nuisance and may be required to be vacated or removed. So we sent them letters with the policy 13 in mind. I followed that policy 13. The first notice was already given out, so I only did the second, third, and the final show cause letters to them, asking them to remove their illegal deck and pool. They did not. I called the building department and I asked them if they had pulled any permits or anything like that. And I instructed the building department to issue them a red tag. To this day, they have issued 4 red tags for a total of $775, and they have not paid those tickets at the county level. Let's see where I'm at. This is a picture that I've shown you before of the pool and where the approximate property line is in relationship to the pool and the deck.
Clarification, is that property line or setback for open space?
That is the property line.
Okay.
The setback is way closer, so the deck itself is, the pool, most of the pool and most of the deck are built on the open space of the subdivision.
So it is open space that it's building.
Yeah, it's
I just wanna be clear.
And part of the deck.
Is the landowner here?
No, it's not.
Okay.
And Mr. Monroe's not here, correct? No.
So I have a question. Since most of the pool is over the property line, well, all the pool is over the property line, in the open space, couldn't all the neighbors use the pool?
It's a common
I mean, if
pool
it's a
now.
common pool now, it looks like to me, suits are optional.
It's been pretty hot out.
Yeah.
Just open their eyes.
Camp Pineapple.
You got a bad visual,
It might convince them to go pay their red tax at least.
I'm not sure what the legalities of that are, but I suppose if we didn't cross that one line, imaginary line.
Stay on your side though.
So, all right, this is my first one, so you guys don't get me off track here. I'm in trouble already.
Order.
Is that Beach doing that?
Yep, sure is, me and Jesus are over here.
Okay, so, first, second, and third notice had been sent out, and I have copies of those in the packet for you.
Can I back up real quick?
Sure.
Gary told them they couldn't build it, and they built it anyways.
It was already built by the time they told us.
Okay. Wait, your partner in crime has got her hand up on
If you read this, it says work done without permit and it was denied, like,
It was built before they asked for the permit. When I went to final out their house, I saw the pool, the county red tagged it. They came to ask Gary for a permit. Gary went out there, it was over the thing, and he denied the permit.
Oh, I got you, okay.
So they didn't ask permission, get denied and build it. They just didn't ask and built it, and then got in trouble.
And it's also not built to code.
Excuse me, what was that?
Yeah.
They pulled the iron?
Yes, when Gary went out there, he
No,
pulled.
not the, I don't know that they pulled the iron, but when they had it surveyed and the pool was way over, I think they were out of town with the surveys. They came home, they had all surveyed, the wooden.
When Gary went there, he pulled it and said, now it's my property, and threw it in the weeds.
Well, respectfully, this has happened so many times in this township, it's beyond me, okay? Before your time, Russ, okay? Before Gary, before Becky, I mean, it's always been an issue about having proper site plan and stuff and setbacks before they do anything, but it just keeps happening. We've had people build pole barns on other people's property. Dennis knows what I'm talking about, okay? I mean, you can't make this stuff up, okay?
No, you cannot. make
Okay,
this-
all right. I'm sorry.
No. Anyways, I followed policy 13, all the way to the end of it. And here I am for a show cause hearing, which I notified them. But also, at that time, I felt as though, and Mike agreed that we should seek legal counsel to find out exactly how I should proceed with this. So, Abby Cooper, at the time, township attorney at the time, had, a meeting with the Monroe's attorney. And originally, I tried to work out a solution to the problem, either remove the pool or find a way that you can, fix the problem. And, there was no remedy, so they didn't do anything. And so I went all the way to the show cause part of it, and, in this packet, there's a bunch of emails that were sent back and forth from Rhonda Monroe to the building department about their tickets. There's emails in here, where basically they're, trying to basically say that, they're trying to rectify the situation, but never seem to come to that, to actually fix it. One particular thing that I wanna read to you, this is to Abby Cooper, from the Monroe's attorney. And she states, I wanted to follow up with you on this matter with some additional information and changes since our prior discussion. My client obtained several quotes to relocate the pool onto their properties, and and the most affordable option was quoted at approximately $30,000. That cost is unfortunately prohibitive for them, and is the sole reason the work has not yet been completed. Given that expense, they explored an alternative with the neighbors. There are 9 co-owners in this development, and my clients spoke to each of them and obtained unanimous verbal consent to amend the master deed and bylaws for Eva Lane to adjust the boundary of the open space so that the existing pool near the north boundary of Lot 9 will no longer encroach over the boundary line.
Just, hold on.
So,
There'll be a call.
Clarification, there is or is not a homeowners association?
well, I'm getting to that, and maybe we should address that right now, because that is where I'm headed with this. Because
I think you should.
the homeowners of Eva Lane, according to Mr. Monroe, are in unanimous consent to allow him to leave his pool on their open space. And all I would like to know is that something that you all agree upon?
Or even came to my door and talked to me.
Okay. So I also have supporting letters from homeowners on Eva Lane that said this is a no-go for them.
All of them, or just some of them?
I have, hold on,
5, I believe.
I think it's 5, but I'm not sure. Let me look here. So I have Caleb Bowen. Are you here? I have a letter from Mr. Bowen who said that he is writing to formally express our opposition to granting a land use permit or giving any part of our common land to Trevor Monroe residing at 9148 Eva Lane. Please know that Trevor and or his lawyer do not speak for us on this matter, and we strongly believe that any discussion regarding the use of our common land should reflect the collective interest in the agreement of all stakeholders involved. It's Mr. Bowen. I also have a letter from several homeowners, Megan Beach.
Oh, not her.
Yep. Chris Beacon.
She's a VIP resident.
Amanda Schwartz.
She lives in the same house as me. She's-
Okay, and Darren and Renee Smith are all here and opposed, what Mr. Monroe and Rhonda Monroe are doing. I also have a letter from Tracy Soule, S-O-W-L-E.
She's out of town, but I speak to her.
Can I interject
Okay.
really quick? So if I'm reading this correctly, we have letters from 5 properties, because 2 are in the same house,
5 parcels, yeah.
5 parcels that are opposed, obviously, to him having the open space or his pool or whatever, over the line. He's over the line.
So his statement basically that he has unanimous consent from all of his neighbors is a lie. So,
Yeah.
Ross, or Greg, any idea when this denied application was filled out?
It should be dated.
it's not dated, but
It was like the first 3 weeks that Gary was here. Does anyone know when Gary was
But
first
at the
there?
bottom, it does have a file date of 6/30/21.
There you go.
Well, that's last updated, that's the form, Jerry, right? I mean, I see
Oh,
emails all the way
yeah,
back
could
to
be.
22, so we're talking 21 or 22, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
it's been going on that long. And
Brandy, do you have, paperwork from when you went to finalize their
I can go
property?
look.
Cause that would have a date of when you went out to look and this all started.
Do you want it right now?
Oh, no, I just wanted general, you don't gotta go look. I figured it was in that just based on the email changes and.
I believe
Yeah.
Gary started in July, and that's about when this happened,
yeah.
of 22.
So, there's plenty of email between the attorneys where it pretty much spells out, and they agreed with their attorney, then they and their attorney had a meeting with our attorney and agreed to move the pool. But it has not been moved to date.
When was that?
Pardon me?
You're saying this is going on years, when was that agreement to move the pool?
That is in the email. Find it for
Is
you.
that with the law firm?
That was,
Oh, they have decided they're just going to reopen the pool, September 23rd of 24.
yes.
Little water.
So that it's entirely on their property.
Might as well discuss it, I just stayed to that.
Yep. Originally, because there isn't an official, there's no official homeowners association. And because of that, Mr. Culver still owns that land, right, Randy? And so you need to form an association so that you can take possession of that common space so that you can,
I told the master of deeds, no, Culver was not owning that property.
well,
But is he still the majority landowner in that?
Cedar Brook owns the property, that is the person who is in charge of, it's incorporated, I found that too through the county, so there is an HOA, it's just under Cedar Brook Homes.
Which is owned by?
Killen, the developer, and he's.
Well, Don did it first, right?
correct.
Down first, yes.
The other half of the road was an HOA.
But I have the transfer from Don Culver to Tony.
Okay,
So it's transferred. Culver does not own that property anymore, but it is under the GPS, so that you can pull up his number, his name, but I have the paperwork, I printed it from the county, so.
But they stipulate in here, our attorney stipulated the master deed, Article 5, Section 3.
Got the master deed, I can email it to you.
Well, no, I'm just asking, you know what it says?
What's,
Article
is it
5.
page?
It says page 10 to 11 of the PDF.
So Cedar Brook never
Article
properly
5,
transferred.
what was it? Article 5,
It's master deed, Article 5, Section 3, page 10 to 11.
Section 3, modification of common elements. That just goes through like, that you can't change the size, location, nature, and design, or elevation of the units, and general or limited common ground, common elements, permanent, or geographically proximate to any units described in the exhibit, with permission of the Conway Township Planning Commission, may be modified, revised, or amended in the developer's sole discretion by amendment of his master deed, but it was within a year of finishing the development, which this is they built in COVID. So it's well beyond the year of when the developer could have amended the master deed.
Did the developer turn it over to the homeowners association?
He didn't, I talked to him today, he didn't even know it was a thing. He thought it was all said and done when he finished building out the rest of the units. So he did not know it was a thing, and he's more than willing to,
How many lots does he still own?
he doesn't own any.
All right, so it's owned by everybody else, not
Yep,
him.
the 9 are the 9, but he's still, technically, from the county standpoint, he is the HOA. And then we have to have a meeting and.
Because he hasn't dedicated to a homeowners association.
Right, but the homeowners association was created from the master deed plan in 2004 before Culver built the properties.
It's a corporation,
It's incorporated.
is that still a valid corporation, has it been annual filed?
Well, I pulled the deed for that too, but I don't know what that means.
It's the,
I'm not really that kind of person.
Hold on, you can just, it's a public website, you can go to, get the corporate filings for that entity.
Okay.
It's a state website, you can go do a corporate entity search.
Eva Lane condominium. And Lane is abbreviated.
Sounds like the chairperson of the homeowners association.
I vote for my
guy.
guy.
So, it is our attorney's opinion that they also have rights to that property. Whether
It's dedicated open space.
it's dedicated open
And it's
space,
in our
correct?
mortgages.
It's
And they do
dedicated
have-
open space, it cannot be encroached.
Right, and they do have the right to remove the Monroes from their open space as a collective.
I'm not saying they don't, but all I'm saying
Not
is,
Mr. Fallers.
is this a township issue or a homeowners association issue?
Well,
It is in good standing with the state of Michigan.
that's,
It's active, it says active status, AR due 10/1/23, I don't know what that means. Initial filing 9/13/2004. Oh yeah, annual report, you're right. Which is funny, because how did it go that far? Annual report year. But it takes a while for them to actually close your entity down.
Probably about 3 or 4 years.
And it still lists Culver as a resident agent.
Oh, so it didn't transfer to Kimball?
You must not.
But it's still in Culver's name, Randy?
I have the assignment of developer rights that transferred, and it was done 12/10/2019.
The name of the entity that it transferred to?
Cedar Brook Homes Incorporated.
So when that
And he
came,
signed
No,
the.
it'd be the Lane Condo Homeowners Association. So the last one filed was 2022, is what it
Try
was.
Cedar Grove.
Yeah, but that's gonna come up with his ink, not the homeowners. Cedar Brook is on.
I just wanna see if he's still in business, that's all I wanna see.
He is.
There's a lot of Cedar Brooks, I already went through those.
Cedar Brook, what was the LRC?
Cedar Brook Homes Incorporated.
you can also look for his name.
A Michigan Corporation of 9300
Stephen or
Silver
Anthony.
Road.
So when that transfer came through, I remember Karen saying, and she could have been wrong, that she didn't change it from Culver to Cedar Brook because, Culver only gave him building rights.
He does have gas, he still has the gas and whatever.
So that's why the common land never came out of Culver's name, because he was only given building rights to
So Don is still involved?
that is,
Not,
according.
yeah, gas and mineral. Not pools.
I think we might be getting a little off track.
I get it.
I think we need to rein it in and finish this up. Cause I have lots of questions now that we're gonna have to just dig into better, I think, with this.
But you need to clarify if there is or is not a homeowners association before we proceed.
Okay, I believe that Abby said that it is, that the property is the homeowners association. But the
paper trail's not there.
the paper trail is not correct. So it needs to be straightened out.
Yeah,
And somebody from the 9 needs to step up and say, okay, I'm a representative of the homeowners association.
Is there a beach in the audience?
Anyway, getting back to this, several tickets were issued to the Monroes about their pool and their deck. So like I said, they have $775 worth of unpaid tickets at the county. I have copies of all those tickets. The county has sent them, they have the same thing, they have their own policy 13. They have the second, third notices to the Monroes as well.
I can't hear now, I can't hear.
To get them to comply with the building codes and sending them warning letters. I sent them letters, and I also sent them registered letters. They were returned to me. They don't open registered mail.
To proceed further, we just need to clarify in that master deed if there is or is not a homeowners association, and if they have rights within that homeowners association, because it starts there before it comes here. Okay, depending on the language contained in that document. I know Addie went through it, but that's all I'm saying. But do you know in that document if there's, you have rights to eject a homeowner in that document?
yes.
Okay.
Isn't it still a building code violation for ours?
I'm not saying that, but but from the legal process, do we start with the homeowners association, township, and building department, or is it all inclusive? I don't know.
Well, my question would be, we've already started this, like, we as
Long
a township
time
already
ago.
started this
No, I
process a
know,
long time
I'm
ago.
just saying, I just,
I mean,
but
do we then pass it off? I don't know if that's the right,
I don't want it kicked by a judge either.
sure.
He's not gonna pay for that, he wants it free, like
What's that mean?
He
he just
doesn't,
wants it free and clear, he wants to come here and say, hey, everyone free, can I have all this
That-
done? So,
At this time, I don't see it happening, so
He was talking,
you wanna move on?
I think, yeah,
Oh, did they wanna speak?
yes,
Yeah.
I'm gonna open it to the residents and the locals, but
Is Russ
I
done?
understand what you're
Is Russ
I'm
done?
not sure.
oh, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm not, I don't understand what your concern is, but we asked that to our township attorney, and she said that they do have the right, and they do.
I'm not saying they don't, I just wanna make sure we do the process correctly.
Correct, that question is still moving phase, because I had the same concern, so that's.
I'm not trying to take anything away from them.
so Mike,
Don't
was
get me
our
wrong.
legal advice that we have the right to be doing all of
Correct.
this? Okay. Okay.
So, other than that, I would like to know how you would like me to proceed with this. Do we issue them a citation? Do we let the homeowners association deal with it?
I think we first should, you know,
We
the
should
homeowners.
for them and then we can-
I'm not against it, Russ, but I just wanna make sure we're doing it right, that's all.
Okay, I mean, my only goal here was to bring this to your attention, that this violation's been going on for a long time, several years. There's no reason for them to have the pool on common space, whether it belongs to Mr. Culver, whether it belongs to Mr. Killen, or the homeowners association. There's no reason for someone to build a pool and a deck without a permit on someone else's land. It just defies common sense.
Knowing, they knew they were doing it.
I mean,
It sounds like they knew they were doing it. I mean, they did it knowing that they were over the property line too.
Are you saying that they didn't know that they?
No, I'm saying that they did, that they
Oh, no. Not only
knowingly
did
built
they-
it.
Not
I
only
had
did
survey,
they
I
know,
know where the property.
They,
Yeah.
they did it willfully with
they
intent.
willfully built without a permit over the line.
Yeah, it wasn't accidental,
No,
like,
this
oh,
is
it's a
not an
foot
accident.
over the line, or, yeah.
Well, that's why they pulled the stakes out. and all that.
Okay, with that being said, Russ, I'm in agreement with that 100%. It doesn't matter in my eyes at this point who owns the property. It is a violation, no matter who owns the property, of our ordinances. They are not even in the setback, but they are across the line. So we have setbacks for all that stuff. Doesn't matter what the land is to next to you or who owns that land. We have ordinances for this.
In this situation, it's dedicated open space that was approved by the planning commission.
Correct.
So that is dedicated to all those landowners, not one. It's
Right.
dedicated open space. It's gonna go back to that master deed that Ms. Beach was having her hands.
And the liability goes with all those 9 people.
Correct.
For that property.
Yeah.
But you still have a setback regardless if who owns the property next to you, you still can't put your pool no closer to your property line regardless of who owns that.
I'm not arguing.
I mean, if you get the.
I mean, I have.
Even if it was close, you still couldn't do it.
I'm looking at it just like it's another piece of property, okay, that somebody else owns. Like I build on your property, okay, I can't do that.
The violation of them doing it on somebody else's property is a completely different story. The violation that he's concerned with is the fact that he violated all of our rules to get with. You know, as far as building it to get with, so that's a completely different thing.
But I believe
It's
in
like
that.
two separate things.
I believe it violated
So-
the master deed too.
So I think that personally, my opinion, without even hearing from everyone else, just this, is that it's not even so much as it's their property, it's your property, whatever. He violated all of our zoning, period.
A lot of it.
At the end of, yeah, at the end of the day.
Then they could go.
I mean, there's three that I cited here,
Right.
very first page, so those are pretty big violations, I mean, like I said, these people,
Do any of the homeowners in this subdivision would you like to speak?
Yeah,
on
just
this
very
matter?
briefly.
I know everybody's got lives and wanna go home. I'm gonna
You're
keep this
Chris,
real
right?
short. I'm Chris Dickey, I live at
Okay.
9098 Eagle Lane, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
You're fine.
When he originally built that pool back in 2019 or 2020 or whatever it was, he had it surveyed. And I kinda caught him in my backyard because we hadn't met him yet, we didn't know who he was. And he had said, oh yeah, you know, I built that pool there, I'm in the process of closing on that land and buying on it. And then I'm gonna build a pole barn in this, what was still a common area on the other side. So it's just one of those instances, if you give an inch, he's gonna take a mile. Clearly, he already wants to take more than the pool, because he's indicating that he wants to build a pole barn over there. And on top of that, I built a deck, I built a shed, I've gone through every permit process and done it proper on my land, and I think it's an absolute load of horseshit that somebody who owns a construction company that knows better is gonna run out and do this, and then come in here and say that he talked to me and the rest of the property owners about it, when he didn't speak to, I mean, I can't speak for anybody else, but he didn't, I've never exchanged words with him other than that one instance. It's dirty, it's shady, and it's disgusting.
anyone else?
Anyone else?
Well, I'm not in there, homeowners.
Oh, no, here she comes.
We're in trouble now.
Steve?
The guy didn't have a permit, he built it over the property line, it's illegal, it's all get out, it needs to be removed, period.
Well, he owns a construction.
Right now.
He owns some home improvement company, Performance Home Solutions, so it's not like he's unfamiliar with the permit process.
Sunday.
I'm Megan Beach, I live at 9020 Eagle Lane. I did talk to Trevor, he came to me and he said that he was getting a special use permit to use the common space. And he said, I said, oh, well, when you sell, what are you gonna do with your pool and deck? And he said, oh, we'll take it down, because we can't sell to a new owner and have it over the line. And I was like, oh, all right, we'll see how that goes, thinking, you know, there would be something in writing, there would be something that would be an explanation of how a special use permit would look. And then when I saw how much of and that was a couple feet over the line, I was told. But then when you look at the picture, the entire pool is over the line. Like he's just talking out both sides of his mouth so that he can get what he wants. And I agree that he knew better. If you give him an inch, he will take a mile. And the common ground wasn't meant to be utilized in that fashion. Like, it was meant to be utilized for all 9 parcels, and he has no right to move the line. None.
Thank you.
Megan, can we can I make a copy of that master deed later? Maybe, yeah, probably.
You don't want me to just email it to you?
Ooh, email would be great.
Is your email on the website?
Good.
Sorry, hold on. I thought it was right, it should be. Let me just write it down there. Was that clerk, right?
Clerk at Conway, mi.gov. But yes, it should be. It should probably be in 42 places on there.
I will get you.
So I don't have to search so hard.
I will get you.
Okay, thank you.
For you.
Darren Smith, 9126 Eagle Lane. Trevor did come to the door. He did ask me, you know, out of sympathy or plea for his grandson, to keep the pool on this, knowingly that it was over the limit, over the property line. And I said, I don't know what the legal, statute is right now, I don't know whose property that is, until Chris brought up the map and the pool and everything else and being over the line, and I'm like, no, I didn't. Maybe I said verbally to him that it has to be done by paper, it has to be approved in you know, before I sign anything, nothing was signed, it was all verbal, oh, my grandson needs to have it, and I wanna take it away from him, are you okay with it there? I go, no, I want some kind of legal document that states you can put it. That was just a conversation, and then he went to the next house, and just verbally asking people if they're okay to do that without any kind of legal documents. He's a contractor.
Verbals don't work.
No, they don't, you gotta have a contract. And I was going around by the plea and for me, you know, I wanna be a good grandpa, but I'm sorry, you should've known that, you're a contractor. That's all of our property. Again, we should all go over there, so. That's what I got.
Is everybody good?
So,
I'll be.
he's on our street. You're fine, you're fine.
I believe he came to the house, I wasn't here, I worked with him, I have no idea what to talk about, but, I mean, I'm not just gonna get right now. I've never met the guy, how many years he's been in it, 3, 4, 5. The only way I've ever seen him do is that on the truck. And there's no way I'm gonna get anything, especially into a contractor, got to know about it. And he just ain't like, if you were doing it, and nobody, then I know about it.
So we've heard from the homeowners, some of them.
About how old is this guy? Estimate.
He's in his early 70s, I believe.
He's the one that actually got the road fixed, because he got a heart attack on the road.
Stroke.
Stroke,
All the same.
all same thing, that's stroke, could be on the road.
Was that when you stoned it?
Yeah, that's what he's doing,
Yeah.
I'm just $30,000. I've taken down a pool. Screw by screw, they come down, rather they come down, $30,000 is a lot.
I mean,
He's that older person,
I got a tracker, I can get rid of it once for it.
Pretty sure for 30,000, I think you can just buy a new one and put it over on the side. I'm basically asking for direction on this at this point, on whether to write a citation or to not write a citation.
So basically, if you're not familiar with policy 13, the basics of this, how it's gonna use is he does his 2 letters, and then we go to a short question, and then it's up to us to guide us on whether we wanna do a civil infraction, which there's two of those that would happen before that technically goes to court. So we would issue a citation. I believe it's $250 now, I know it was changed, and then the second one's $500. It used to be 3, I know it was changed last year, not the previous year. Don't quote me on that, but it's somewhere around there. And then
Yeah, I
after
just
that-
pulled up his Facebook, apparently he's 50, apparently I cannot judge the
He's younger than he looks.
20 years.
So,
I can't touch that one.
No, that's much different scenario.
so then at that point, after the 2 tickets, it would be up to us if we want to proceed.
Can I, for a second?
Yep.
This is where I have to formally disclose potential conflict. That is my sister. So that is gonna be for the board's discussion.
Yeah, come by naturally.
You know,
Do you really want me to comment?
Something trustee Porter convince her sister to head to homeowners association.
I will not speak for her.
So that being said, then, I don't know how this went yesterday, and we go down the line, we feel it's at this point in conflict of interest, and that's fine.
So this was discussed last night with PC just for reference, and it was about being impartial in doing the job.
Objective.
Objective. Was the question Gus asked, if there are people that are in a similar situation and be objective.
And
But I will state for the
Can you-
record,
can
I
you-
feel we have rules and laws in this township, and I am all about rules and laws. So I can absolutely be objective, but
This is when, oh,
Oh, I see no conflict of interest.
See, no, that being said, it's make a motion.
One question. To date, there is no homeowners association, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, okay,
Hold on. Yes or no?
sort of. So, it's implied, it's an implied. They have not officially,
Adopted the homeowners association.
Okay, they don't have a formal homeowners
they
association.
don't have a formal one, but because of the situation, it's implied that it,
Stay with me, okay, that may be to their benefit, is what I'm getting at. Okay, if they don't
Yeah.
have a formal homeowners association, maybe the township does prevail, okay, but if they do have a dedicated homeowners association, I'm gonna say we do not.
at this time, they do not have.
Okay, you see where I'm going, okay, so. Between six and-
We're gonna make, yes, so I'll make a motion that Sarah Porter does not have a conflict of interest in this matter from the North Shore Trustee.
Second.
Let's do a little, so we can, I'm saying she does not have one, so we.
That's the motion.
Correct. So you put, yes, she does not. If you believe she does not.
We're gonna vote on,
yeah.
roll call, so we're gonna vote.
Yes, she does not have.
Yes, she does not have a conflict.
Yes, she does not have a conflict of interest.
Yes. Okay, then, passed 5-0. 4-0, I'm sorry. So there's no allowed to vote. Alright. So now, if somebody would like to make a motion or suggestion on how we would like to move forward on this matter.
Motion to issue a civil infraction immediately.
I will second.
I want to amend that. Based on a lack of a homeowners association.
Motion to issue civil infraction immediately based on lack of a homeowners association.
Correct. You still second?
Oh,
Do you
yes,
still
I
second that motion?
yes.
Okay. Yep.
Yes.
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 So, we're in civil infraction.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay, next on,
Mike, is it 250 for the first one?
I believe so, Greg, I'd like to for sure. We'll look at it, yeah, and if you said,
One quick question, in our policy, it says I can write a ticket every day of violations.
Oh, boy, here we go.
But, just, I feel as though that might be a bit excessive, so, in Handy Township, they give you 7 days to correct the violation. Once you're given a civil infraction, you have 7 days in Handy Township to fix the situation.
And they issue the next one.
And then they issue a next one on 7 days. Can I get, just, you don't have to make it policy, but just some advice on that? Or should I?
Is it fair to say that they didn't pay the building department violations?
Yeah, I don't believe they're gonna pay any of these tickets.
I don't think they are.
But I think we should at least give them the tickets. They might not have to pay them, but it is a policy.
I mean, I can ask for sure, but I believe it is, legal for us to put them on the taxes. So we will find that out.
There's a civil infraction ordinance, and I'm not sure on what that is, or what it states in there, so we might wanna revisit that. So, there's an actual ordinance,
Yes.
and I'm not fluent in that today, so.
And I do believe that you can, you have to double check, but I'm almost certain
Yeah,
that you
it's-
can put it on the tax.
I'm almost positive.
Because you're in the repository, that,
We will look at the civil infraction ordinance again, and really hammer on it, and go from there.
Okay, thank you.
Russ, is the first one 250?
I believe it is 250 and then 500.
Didn't Mike say that you guys have to, the second one, you guys have to approve the second one?
We'll have to look at the ordinance part of that to be positive. I believe, I remember reading it, I didn't read it. This, to an extent, I needed to get this most popular. I think once this civil action is approved, I think then that process is in our ordinance and stuff, we just keep moving forward. I don't believe we have to vote on this. All right, the next one, item 13 is for the shred contract. That's for documents and stuff that we need shredded. Right now we use AccuShred. You can see it's bi-monthly, they come into $64 bi-monthly. Randy happened to be at a different township and found out who they use, which is Cord. We can buy the container. So if you do the math, right, with the $64 times the 6 times a year, whatever, it's 60, whatever the total is. We can buy this container from Corrigan for $200, and we can be an on-call thing, so when it gets close to being full, we call them and we have it picked up. And that was, what was it, $35. Talking to everybody that works here, the 2 days a week, 3 days, maybe twice a year, we're taking an estimate of that. That's how little we use it.
It would really depend on if we're, like where we clear out election
Right,
files and stuff, but yeah, I mean, it's like maybe 3 times a year,
correct.
that we would actually.
So in the first year, we're saving money, and then after that, because we bought the container, we own it, then it's just paying the $35 on a full-time basis.
And we only pay when you call for it.
Correct.
And then who would you make this
On the,
On the
on?
shredder.
The shredders. Oh, you just,
it's the bin, it's that bin that's in there, it's a garbage
It's just
can
like
with a
garbage can,
slide
like
under
a
a lot.
you're not purchasing like the actual shredder?
No.
No.
Okay, that's what I got confused.
The $200 is to buy the blue container that's in there, with the lock on it and the slot that you put the stuff in.
And, our current contract annually renews in September, so we would still have one final service in September, and then after that, we can notify according to the union.
Correct. And with AccuShred and the way this is, you're supposed to give them 60 days notice and stuff, but I call them, talk to them, and they send an email stating that they would waive that, and whatever our decision is our decision, and we go with it. So it would be September, they would come, if we decide to do this, it would be September, they would come, do the last one in September. We would pay that bill, and then we
shreds in your parking lot.
Right.
Your bin goes out to a truck and then he's done, they don't do that here?
Yes.
They just picked up the locked container and then they're shredded at a facility.
And they facility swap containers.
Yes. And then they send you a notarized paper to say that they shredded it.
That's really weird. So in Howell, we have AccuShred. I don't believe I'm even in a contract. I pay about $55 every quarter. And it's done in the parking lot. I can hear the machine just chewing it up, which is what we wanted, because we wanted to be sure that it was shredded.
I used to work for Corbin, pick up documents, files and that, container to container. Facility, that's how we go. It's just fine.
The locks stay on it when it's with you?
Yeah. I transport it, goes back there, there's a lock on at the facility, and then they shred it back to the facility, once they get it back to the way to the court.
That's how it works at the facility I work at, when it's a car dealership, but they take one bin and bring it in.
Oh, that's how it works.
Isn't that weird? You're out of Ohio.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the papers we get are notarized from an Ohio notary.
So I'd like to make a motion to hire Corbin, actually, the AccuShred September pickup at the end of the contract.
And the total on that was again,
For Corbin, it's 200 to purchase
the thing.
the van, which we keep for, and $35. Motion and second. To hire Corbin. Where's Freddie? No.
Deidre,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Esper, yes, Sheila, yes.
Yes. Okay, motion carried, 5-0. Okay, the next one is the, proposal for the noise from KNS Engineers. Is a sound company, that this would be a shared cost agreement with Cohasset, so we would pay half.
That was my question.
Yes, there's two different proposals here. The first one is for them to do sound studies, within our township and within Cohasset Township. To get, like, the ambient noise of what it is normally around here. And to,
Establish it basically.
correct. And to do studies up at the, Lennon Solar Facility and what that sound is in certain residents that will allow us to do on their properties up there. So that is the first one, which is the $9,360, which we would be paying half. The second proposal is for them, and then up there in Headland, they would also, we're getting the application that they submitted for up there and seeing what they used on their sound study, for what their sound is at the wall and stuff, at properties up there, that we have done for us.
At multiple locations,
Correct.
not a single point.
Correct. And then they would match those to the ones that they pay, you know, in real time now. So that you would know what they submitted in their application, what you actually have today out there, the noise level.
So there's, again, percentage.
Correct. So that's the first one. The second one is just to do the study up in Lennon and not do a baseline in our township and Cohasset Township.
What's the difference in price?
So the first one is $9,260. The second one is $7,310. So, $50 difference, so we're gonna be $1,025 more for the more extensive study.
Which is the first one.
Correct. And with that, I can tell you this, legal says they really can use the second one, not as much the first one. The sound study guy says it is easy for him to show like what the bass is here and the hi-hat and then go through the entire thing. So you can have two different things, and obviously one of them is the people that are charging us to do this, so take that for what you want.
But what we're gonna find here is normal rural noise.
Correct.
At a very low level.
Correct. But I can tell you this, if you look that up online, the ambient noise in rural areas is 35.
We already know what that is.
Yeah, so it seems like overkill.
Yeah. We already know what that is. So to me, it's,
Yeah, but do we have legal proof of what, ambient noise is?
That's sort of what the sound study guy is saying, like, it is easier for him to, like, track and do all that, to prove, like, the difference.
Yeah, with paying for it.
But I would say that this, again, our legal says that he's not convinced that part is gonna be much difference. The part of matching it to their application and what it was on their application to what it is today, for him is, he thinks that's good.
This might not mean much to our legal right now, but say in the future, anytime in the future, this baseline could be important.
Correct.
That's what,
I mean,
that's what I'm kind of
say
getting
this,
at.
if this went forward and, you know, we have solar here and.
It's only costing us an extra $1,000 because we're splitting it with Todd to have that in our back pocket.
If you don't do it, you don't have.
Wish you had it.
You had, correct,
Right.
you don't have a legal
Exactly.
And to their point, with the master plan, right, and what the planning commission is talking about possibly making some, commercial zones or something, you know, for future.
Then blame it on them.
Well, if you have that, that's also something that, you know, depending on what comes here, would be used. Or what, for the commercial entity that wants to come, depending on what that is, and what is it they want.
Cause then the developer would say, well, they didn't have this commercial business and now that's causing more noise, it's not all ours.
Right.
So there's two years.
But I guess what I'm getting at is the baseline is based on solar, it's not based on something else.
Right, I'm just saying it could
But-
possibly be used.
But the baseline would just give us what the rural
Just the
ambient sound
baseline.
is, just an ambient sound.
No, I agree.
I do think noise has been a big concern for people.
Right.
Steve mentioned it, and there are gonna be a few things that are worth taking questions for.
I believe that the comments in the audience are well taken.
The fact that it is staff, that increase
Okay,
So,
so,
wait, I have a question. So the 9,360 is,
the full, they have,
with Tahaka, so we would just pay, like, so they're asking for a retainer.
4680.
Yeah, which would be, and that really should be what we expect for the total amount for us to be at the end of the day. Okay. Okay.
so, entertain a motion on all of them, or none of them,
I motion to accept the bid from KNS Engineers LLC dated June 24th, 2025, and not to exceed $4,680.
second.
so we have a motion and a second for KNS Engineering for not to exceed $4,680.
Deidre,
Yes.
G. Pushes,
Yes.
S. Ford,
Yeah.
Bigfoot, yes. Micah,
Yes. Motion carried 5-0.
I didn't want to affect the vote, but what if the hockey picked the other?
The Hawk already had their meeting and I already knew what they done. And they're with us.
I figured that, but I was just,
You had to wait till after.
you're already in the middle of the book, and I wasn't gonna
Okay. Any, other board member discussion?
Last night at the planning commission, we requested the planner to provide their questions regarding the solar application. And I need that information sent to the planning commission. Every planning commissioner needs to receive those questions from the planner. I requested that last night, and we haven't received anything today, so we need that information.
Good questions from that plan.
Right, any comments from the planner, questions, whatever, we need it now. Their comments,
About
questions,
this application.
about the application, yes. Do I need to make that a motion, or can we just take care of it?
We'll take care of it.
I have a couple things, just housekeeping. So Terry, you're gonna get the Carroll Journal for the April month and the May month.
Yes.
If you could. Do we have, I was told we are supposed to have an identity theft policy at Conway Township, and I do not see it listed in our general ordinances, so if that's something we can check with Abby.
I will check.
Last month, Debbie, they weren't here, but Susie had mentioned that she had updated an investment policy to you. Is that something we'll get to, or should she be watching for? She said she did her changes and gave it to you, but you do follow up for the investment policy update.
I know we were working on it, but I'm not, we've gotten tied back up with the copies today and some other stuff, but I will check through it tomorrow.
Okay. Tara, also you had mentioned you were gonna check into if and when we got rid of that Civic Plus thing for FOIA, were we gonna lose all those previous FOIAs on our?
We are downloading those.
Okay.
And
Unemployment. Sorry, ladies. Alright, so, I don't know what, okay, I just wanna tell you that I thank you, Leah, for sending me the stuff that you did so far. I don't, I've said this before, I have concerns about this, and my concern is, this really started from someone at Heartland Payroll, and it pulled a string, and I feel like we might be getting into something that maybe we shouldn't.
well, they might have closed my WAM account again anyway, so due to lack of filing.
Well,
I've been waiting on Heartland and,
it's not a long time to shut you down though. I reached out,
it says I have a month to go before it's final.
what I'm worried about is,
August.
the information they provided you says we elected reimbursement status, so that's my first question, like when, and anywhere in this building, can we find an old unemployment return? Copy, a file,
No, we
something
can
that
only
shows,
find old returns when we log into the account, but we don't have any.
what do the old returns look like?
They don't really say much, anything, they just have like how much was made in that quarter,
Do they look like this? That's, okay, so this is Cahacta's. I reached out to their clerk. Cahacta is not reimbursing, they're a contributing employer, and they're at 0%. So this is a 1028, which is what was alluded to on the top of that page, which I couldn't really see, Leah, but I knew what it
I
said.
just sent you a screenshot.
Yeah.
Of the website, but there's no like official form or anything, it's just like, enter, employee wages here, how many, it asks you how many active employees, this is not really, that's basically it.
Yeah, so they're telling us we should be filing a 1763. So Cahacta's doing it. I mean, this is what a normal unemployment return looks like for a person that actually has to pay, except for they have a tax rate. So you get excess wages after everyone pays in $9,000, and per quarter you pay on what that is. So if you have a bunch of salaried people by the first quarter, you don't pay anymore after that. Your rate goes up and down as people collect or don't collect. I'm worried that whatever Heartland did is all of a sudden gonna get us into filing something that I'm not sure we should. I really feel
We
like.
did contact Charlie about this too, to try to help,
Yeah, and I guess my question for Charlie is, were we specific in what we asked? Because if he says, oh, you should be filing something, yes, you should be filing that, okay, that could be this and not the 1763. So if our questions aren't very specific as in, what do other municipalities file and why would one be contributing and one be reimbursing? Cause this to me means Cahacta is never gonna pay unemployment tax, and that is
Right.
probably not what this one means.
Right.
So I wouldn't just take what UIA said.
We've been going back and forth
Oh,
between that and
also-
Heartland too.
Well, also, in that initial letter they sent you, it says, once you elect that reimbursement status, you have to remain it for 2 years. Well, that's probably 20 years ago, so
Right.
I don't think we would be under any obligation to continue to be a reimbursement employer if we didn't want to be. So the question's a little bit kind of a,
The application I filled out, that's how they determine that, it's based off the application. So I had to
How many
fill out-
employees we had, like that,
I
should
had
just
to
submit all of our employees.
submit the application.
did anyone review your application? Charlie did.
I had to double check. I wanted to make sure I was doing this right.
And I wondered what Abby would have in terms of like, what does she know about, is it like the labor law, a little bit of thing? Why we would pick something that before that's reimbursing versus someone else doing it. And then you can call other townships, but I'm just cautioning to question because we might be putting ourselves in a position we don't want to be. And maybe Charlie could even shed light on why would someone be reimbursing versus contributing.
We can ask.
Because he works for a lot of different,
Municipalities.
yeah. Leslie, I guess, I don't know if you might, but I would like to get the lesson analysis. And written center, and that would be, of course, you and all, but that would be helpful in the stuff.
So you're saying if we have access, we will have less questions?
Maybe not. Might have more. Trying to figure things out on my own.
There you go. Back to solar, regarding Foster Swift. Any documents that are not considered privileged, I would like them forwarded to the planning commission immediately.
Documents as far as.
Anything that they've researched, or their staffers, I'm looking at the billable hour statements, they've gone through that application.
Yeah.
I want that information to the planning commission now.
Anything else? Last call to the public?
This was probably in your packet, but I didn't get it. So what does our insurance cost? This car that, was discussed.
You never said the
The
total
proposal,
dollar.
the proposal that we,
$13,965. We got a renewal for this year.
So I admire Mr. Becker for sticking through all of this.
That's
it's his life, it's his life.
All right, I just wanna give, great credit to the community in the planning commission, the last place we meeted. The community really came together. There were many good statements from the residents, and I thought the planning commissioners all did an excellent job in their questions. It was really well done. I also want to encourage everybody to attend the Hoppus meeting tomorrow, if at all possible. It will be interesting how that's handled. But anybody that can contribute something, please go tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah, where is it?
Oh, right, Julie Road, right, over by the airport at the MS building.
What's the time on it?
911
Six.
Road.
6 o'clock.
It's 6 o'clock.
6.
Yep.
I've been practicing my speech all day. I'm not gonna hold any punches tonight. We need people.
Not.
Pardon?
When are you not pulled?
Most of the time. But we need people to bring up their specific concerns. So, thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Anybody else?
Yeah. So, we have the honor of having Mr. Kubiak in the audience today. Mr. Kubiak was sent up here to find out what was going on with this concert, and I thought maybe possibly, Mr. Brown, you could, just give us a brief explanation of what happened with Mr. Freeman, and so that Mr. Kubiak understands what transpired. He was here yesterday, and I think that was because I believe he thought that possibly we were discussing the concert, which we're not, but I'd like you to explain why we're not having a concert here and why we were not talking about it.
So I wouldn't say at this point, I wouldn't say we're not having a concert here, it's not in our hands at this moment. Mr. Freeman, had a list of things that he had to supply to our township for the application. 911 for the last 2 concerts has been a major issue, with it, and crashing the internet around here. There's been municipalities in town that couldn't use their credit card, things like that because of the overload on the system. So they brought cows out the second year, I'm not sure if that happened the first year, but it did not alleviate the whole problem, there were still issues. So we asked him to address those issues about that, because we feel that that's a problem for our citizens, not at the concert itself, but at a mile down the road if something happened to somebody. And all we asked him to do was, and this was early on in the application process, all we asked him to do was to address that and get sign-offs or have it fixed. So he took a couple of months at least to even start addressing the issue. When we started addressing the issue, we found out it was a bigger problem than he thought it was. So, it was mentioned to him at the very first meeting we had that Surf had come through and put some underground in and all those things, and possibly he could tie into that for the concert people themselves, right, for them to use that, so they didn't tie up the rest of the system. So Verizon evidently told them they would do it, that they would do that, but AT&T and T-Mobile said absolutely not. So I said, if you can get a sign off from them, evidently they told him that they had done some work on the towers and stuff and helped boost their system. I said, all you need is a sign off from everybody. If they will sign off on it, I don't see a problem with that, then that application moving forward to the planning commission who's going to vote on it. So, in doing so, the second meeting, he still didn't have any of that. And the Livingston County 911 director told him she would not sign off on it. The Livingston County Emergency Management, director said she would not sign off on it. AT&T told them they will not sign off on it. T-Mobile said they will not sign off on it. Nobody wants to take the responsibility. And me personally, as the supervisor of this township, I didn't want to put the township in that position either, if something happens. So, I asked him, with what he has submitted to us, if he would like to move forward with the process and have us present it to the planning commission. And he told me no, because he didn't feel that they would vote for it. I said, well, you don't know until you bring it to him and ask. Because I was gonna have it on, I told Russ to have it on yesterday's meeting. And this was a little over 2 weeks ago when we discussed this. And he said they were looking for alternative areas for the concert. So then last week, so that was 2.5 weeks ago, so then the next week, we've been having telephone meetings with him at 3 o'clock every Wednesday for a month at least. Plus the meetings with all the county officials and stuff. There's been 2, there's another one tomorrow. Is it tomorrow at 10, I think, there's supposed to be another one. So, him saying he didn't wanna move forward with the application, I said, are you sure? And he said, yeah, we're looking for alternative areas. I said, okay, that's where it stands. So it's the ball's in his court, and has been in his court. We're just asking to make sure that the township and the people of the township are safe when the concert's going on as far as 911. I even told him the SOS 911 on your phone. I said, if you can get a letter stating that will work, and that's gonna cover the 911 at least, I think you got a good chance of it, being passed. I don't know that for sure because I'm not on the planning commission and I haven't discussed that, like that with planning commission members as far as, what do you think or anything like that. We've just been waiting for them to finalize the application to give it to the planning commission.
Well, they mentioned they don't want that library either.
Correct, on the phone call, when he said it, so Luke Bryan owns the company that's promoting this, and he told me that Luke Bryan don't want that either. He don't want that responsibility or that, if something happened like that. He don't wanna be held liable either. So it's twofold, I don't want somebody to have an issue, down the road like that and not be able to get through on 911 for whatever reason. Like I said, all you needed was sign-offs. And I thought that would be sufficient to, for them. And 2, do not want to put the township in that liability if something did happen. But first and foremost is, the safety of the residents of the township.
Thank you. I'd also like to mention that the Kubiak Farms are one of the only farms in Conway Township and one of the larger farms in Conway Township that did not sign a solar agreement.
Mr. Kubiak, has the promoter been in contact with you on this?
Yeah, Dennis?
Yeah.
He said he's thinking about moving it to Howell, because he can't get through with his stuff here or something, but he's been talking to my sister, and he's been doing.
Oh, okay. All right.
So we're in Howell, he has some big illness.
Oh, that's a shocker.
Yeah. Well, coincidentally, the location that they've picked now is on Mar Road between Fleming and Owasso Road. And they,
Is that where the pond is?
I don't know if it's there or if it's over by the waste management, where the waste management place used to be over there.
they're looking right now, but they're trying to find a spot, but I don't believe that you can stuff 20,000 people into a small area like that and have service anywhere.
As, I think the only person who knows much about telecommunications here. The issue is when you have 20,000 of these in one location and only one tower down the road, and it overloads that tower and it takes it out. And
Well-
the 911 director tried blaming it the first year on us that the tower went down, because I had the tower there for all of the 911, not for the cell phones, but our tower was set up for the radio system for all the police. Verizon and AT&T, they'll set up a tower for these, but yes, they get overloaded because we got 20,000 cell phones out there, and that's what happens.
So the 911 or SOS that's installed in your phone, right, if you go to that, do you know, will that work no matter what? Like,
Only if there's tower available, or, the towers can only handle so many.
correct.
The Follow the Fair does the same
Same.
thing, when you go to that shuts down, you can't call
Yeah.
anyone out of the fairgrounds.
Well,
Well,
see,
Fowlerville doesn't have, especially for Verizon, like in town, Fowlerville doesn't have very good Verizon coverage regardless. And then once you get out here, it doesn't get any better, because that tower down the road here is not a Verizon tower.
That's the AT&T.
Yeah.
And the T-Mobile tower on Silver Road barely works apparently too, because I have T-Mobile on.
But in town, could you tie into fiber?
What's that?
Could you tie into fiber in town?
Yeah, they could tie, I don't know that much about, like, I've worked around their cows and stuff, I've seen their cows, I don't know exactly.
What is
how-
cow
What is a
stand for?
cow? We live in Conway and you're saying cow about
It's communication on wheels, is what it's called.
it's a booster.
It's a booster?
Yeah, it's pretty much a mini site, it's a mini site is what it is, communication on wheels. is what
Looks
it's
like a cow with 4 legs.
called.
I was told it's basically the top of a cell phone tower
Yeah.
inside a trailer.
Yeah, the trailer
So
is
that's
the
only gonna work
site.
on whoever they pick isn't gonna go through the county to get approvals, right?
Yeah,
She's
well,
still not
it
gonna
also
approve it.
depends on how it's linked into the network, whether if it's a satellite link, sometimes they use a satellite link, like, cause they'll deploy those to like natural disasters and stuff like that.
Right.
They have,
Well-
crash teams and stuff, they'll use satellite links and stuff like that. Yeah, they could tie it into a fiber link, and of course they'll have better bandwidth or whatever, but that cow is still only gonna be able to handle so many
Right.
signals.
Well, I even asked him if he could use Starlink. Like, can you get Starlink for like a
Well,
day
yeah,
or
it
whatever,
could-
like, just to put the data on
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
right? So that 911 would work, right?
Yeah, but the thing is that the cow itself is only gonna be able to handle so many, now they could bring in multiple cows that
Right.
handle, more,
Right.
but that's all in Verizon or AT&T to bring in more assets to
Right, well,
handle that.
okay, so Verizon was good with running it through the underground that has been
Yeah.
put in.
Yeah.
They were going to do that,
Yeah.
but the other ones were not and wouldn't sign off.
Because the second concert, they said that, all the cows went down, and they were looking at us, I was like, no, mine never went down. I was there the whole time.
Like you said, Jordan, why can't you tap into serve? The guy who got served, why can't we tap into that?
I don't know.
We
It's
should
probably
just,
not the backbone part, it's the, cause
we did
you
suggest.
can't tell your phone to connect to that tower, right? So your phone's just gonna reach to whatever it can talk to, right? So if this gets overloaded, it's just gonna go to the next tower that it tries to talk to. So if this gets overloaded, then, the other 5,000 phones are gonna go over here, and then that's gonna get overloaded, and then the other 4,000 phones are gonna go over there, and it just becomes a domino effect, is what happens. And that's what pretty much happened, is that got overloaded here at the concert, and then downtown got overloaded, and, people's stuff downtown got overloaded, and people in the area. Because you're not just talking to 20,000 people at the concert, you're also talking to all the residents around, their phone number.
As long as that copy is served itself, so if there anybody can actually do the password in that one day.
But that's just the back one, that's not your, this phone this is a Verizon phone, it's not gonna work with your server.
It's gonna go to
This still
a
has to talk to
Verizon
Verizon.
tower. It's gonna go to a Verizon tower.
Yeah.
But that's why Verizon said they would hook to the, stuff underground.
They just have to bring enough assets here to cover.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
So, they thought they could cover theirs, doing that, no problem, but AT&T and T-Mobile said
It's all in this, if
they
you bring.
wouldn't do any of that.
Perhaps it'd be a good idea in our master plan that we look for more locations for cell phone towers. 'Cause we need them. Pretty bad around here.
Last thing, before you cut out,
Russ, do you have a
just
conflict
for,
of interest?
just for, I know the tax thing just went out or whatever, and I know you guys put information out in those tax bills. Not everybody gets tax bills, so if there's information going out,
It's on the homepage of the website, that one's right there.
yeah, I know,
On the front.
but,
That one is.
but if
And it
there's
is what-
information going out that isn't in the tax bill, or that is in the tax bill, but people don't get the tax bill, can they still get that information? Like, just separately mailed to them?
Well, everybody gets taxed.
Right?
Even if it's escrow, you still get a tax
I didn't
bill.
get a tax bill,
It may not have come for whatever reason yet, because,
I'm exempt.
oh,
I remember that, so.
but you still get.
I only get the one, at the winter, I don't get a summer. So I didn't get, the only reason why I did, the tax bill just came is because I got my neighbors and I had to give it to him.
Oh.
And then you guys mentioned about the master plan thing in there, so.
So,
Survey's on the site, you should take.
I know, I saw it on there, but I'm just saying.
yeah, there's hard copies on the, by the window up front, if anybody would like to
Yeah,
get one.
there's other,
from
way-
us.
the print company sent them all.
Okay. I just didn't know if there was a way for.
Yeah, we need a website or on the counter.
But if you add it to like, if you can send the packets that way, couldn't you add it, since you're working on the website and all that, couldn't you add it to that to be able to push that through on your?
Well, I did when we first had it, but I have to redo it again.
Fix it.
No, we sent it out, when we first posted it, it did go out through the notifier, and it was on our Facebook page.
Yeah, I think I got the.
And then I resent
I
it.
got something,
The first
and then
link they
I
sent
forgot
didn't
about it,
work.
then I just, about the mail,
Then we
I
sent
just
it
figured.
again, and that one did work.
Yep.
And we sent it through email, text, and Facebook.
Anybody else?
Something quick. So, Tom Parker, 7,000 Union Road. Apparently, there's some discussions going on with some of the Livingston County Commissioners, Board Commissioners, that they're seriously looking at this St. Clair County health ordinances. And there may be some discussions about adopting some of those. I just thought maybe the board might want to send a letter of encouragement over when I do that.
Just an FYI, I'm attending, so.
Right.
They have a health, the Livingston Planning Commissioners have a health advisory committee
Okay.
that is kind of directing that and heading that, and we've been going to those meetings for a few months now.
If you don't read it, thanks, man.
It's good news.
Anybody else? Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.